During my engagement party, a woman I didn't recognize walked straight up to me and put an envelope in my hands. Before I could even process what was happening or ask a question, she turned around and disappeared. I opened the envelope, and in that moment, it felt like my chest cracked open. My fiancée rushed toward me, alarmed by the look on my face. As soon as she saw what was inside, her eyes filled with tears. I didn't say anything at all. I just turned around and walked out. Later that night, her friends started texting me, asking, "What have you done?" My name is Ethan. I'm 31 years old, and I work as a civil engineer. I design bridges and infrastructure for a mid-sized firm in Pennsylvania. It's solid work, it pays well, and up until recently, I took a lot of pride in what I'd built, both in my career and in my personal life. Or at least, I thought I had. 3 months earlier, I'd proposed to Megan. We'd been together for 4 years by then. She worked as a marketing coordinator at a tech startup and was incredible with people. She always knew exactly what to say and when to say it. Everyone liked her. I loved her. I proposed at her favorite lakeside park on a Sunday evening in late September. I rented a small boat, hired a photographer who hid in the trees, and waited for the sun to hit that perfect golden hour glow. When the timing felt right, I dropped down on one knee. She cried. I cried. Her mother cried when we told her later that night. It all felt perfect, like every bit of effort I'd put into my life had finally lined up. We scheduled the engagement party for early December at a boutique event space downtown. Megan handled most of the planning, because that was her strength. She loved spreadsheets, vendor calls, and seating charts. I pitched in where I could, helped with the guest list, chose catering options, and picked out the bar menu. We invited around 70 people, including college friends, co-workers, and family. It was supposed to mark the start of everything. The party fell on a Saturday night, December 7th, exactly 3 months after the proposal. I remember the date clearly. The venue had massive floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, warm amber lighting, and a live acoustic guitarist in the corner playing covers of songs Megan and I both loved. She wore a navy blue dress that made her look like she belonged in a magazine. I wore a charcoal suit my brother helped me choose. For the first hour, we floated around the room greeting guests, posing for photos, and laughing at half-finished toasts. My mom kept pulling me aside to introduce me to relatives I barely remembered. Megan's best friend joked nonstop about wedding dress shopping. Everything felt comfortable and right, like it was supposed to. Around 7:45 that evening, I was standing near the bar talking with my best friend Jake about a deadline I had coming up at work. He'd just started telling me about his recent promotion when the front door opened. A woman I'd never seen before walked in. She looked like she was in her late 20s, with dark hair pulled into a tight ponytail. She wore jeans and a black coat, and she clearly didn't fit the mood of an engagement party. She looked anxious. Her hands were shaking. She walked straight toward me. Jake stopped talking mid-sentence. I watched her approach, confused, trying to figure out if I recognized her. I wondered if we'd gone to college together or if she was someone's plus one. She stopped about 3 feet away and held out a manila envelope. "Ethan," she asked quietly, though her voice didn't waver. "Yeah," I said. "You need to see this." Before I could ask who she was or what she meant, she pushed the envelope into my hands, turned around, and left. She was out the door in seconds, moving fast, like she was afraid she'd lose her nerve if she stayed any longer. I stood there holding the envelope as people around us began to notice. Conversations faded into a dull background hum. The guitarist kept playing some indie cover like nothing had changed. Jake leaned toward me and whispered, "Who was that?" I shook my head. I honestly had no idea. I looked down at the envelope. My name was written across the front in blue ink. There was no return address, no note, nothing else. I opened it. Inside were printed screenshots, text messages, bank statements, and photos, everything neatly organized, like someone had carefully built a case. The first page showed a text conversation between Megan and someone saved in her phone under a single letter. The messages went back months: April, May, June. They weren't harmless or playful. They were graphic, detailed plans to meet, descriptions of things they'd already done and wanted to do again. Words I'd never heard her use with me. My stomach dropped. The next page was a bank statement with Megan's name at the top. It showed repeated charges to a hotel called the Grand View, about 20 minutes outside the city. The charges stretched back 6 months, always on the same day of the week, Thursdays, always between noon and 3 in the afternoon. There were dozens of transactions, sometimes 50, sometimes 70, running from June through November. The third page was a photo. Megan sat across from a man I didn't recognize at an outdoor cafe. His hand rested over hers on the table. She was smiling, really smiling, the kind of smile I always believed was just for me. The timestamp said it was taken 2 weeks earlier, on a Thursday. The same day she'd told me she was working late on a campaign pitch for a new client. The fourth page held more messages, this time recent ones from the previous week. I can't wait to see you Thursday. I've been thinking about you all day. Same here. This is getting harder to hide. I know. We'll figure it out. I promise. I don't remember breathing. Megan must have noticed something was wrong, because she came rushing over from the other side of the room, where she'd been chatting with her bridesmaids near the dessert table. "Ethan, what is it?" she asked. "What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." I didn't respond. I just handed her the papers. She looked down, and the color drained from her face before rushing back in a deep red. Her eyes filled with tears. She looked up at me, then back at the pages, then back at me again. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. "Ethan, I raised my hand. I didn't want to hear it. Not there. Not in front of 70 people who came to celebrate us. Not in front of my mother. Not in front of her father, who had given a toast an hour earlier about how proud he was to welcome me into the family." I turned around and walked toward the exit. I didn't make a scene. I didn't explain myself. I just left. Behind me, I could hear her calling my name, her voice breaking. "Ethan, wait. Please, let me explain." I kept walking. I stepped outside into the cold December air. My car was parked 2 blocks away. I got in and drove, without any real destination in mind. My hands shook on the steering wheel, and my heart slammed so hard in my chest it felt like it might burst. That night, I ended up at Jake's apartment. He'd followed me out of the venue and tried to stop me at the door, but I told him I needed to be alone. He didn't argue. He just nodded and let me go. About an hour later, Jake texted me asking where I'd gone. I finally told him. He didn't push for details or ask questions. He just replied, "Doors unlocked. I'm still at the venue helping clean up. I'll be there in 20. I sat on his couch and stared at the wall. I didn't cry. I didn't get angry. I felt empty, completely hollow, like someone had reached inside me and scooped everything out, leaving nothing but a shell behind. Around 11 p.m., my phone started lighting up nonstop. One message after another. Megan's friends, her bridesmaids, even people I'd always thought were my friends too. "What did you do? Megan is a mess. You need to come back. She said you humiliated her in front of everyone. Whatever you think happened, you're wrong. She made one mistake. Don't throw away years over this." I didn't reply to any of it. I turned my phone off and tried to sleep on Jake's couch. It didn't work. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying every Thursday for the past 6 months. Every late meeting, every campaign deadline, every night she came home exhausted and went straight to bed without much to say. When morning came, I woke up to 43 missed calls. Most were from Megan. A few were from her mother. One was from my own mom, asking what was going on because Megan had called her around midnight, sobbing, saying I'd abandoned her at our engagement party. I called my mom first. I explained everything and even read some of the texts to her over the phone. She stayed quiet for a long time. Then she finally said, softly, "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." I told her I needed time and that I'd call her later. After that, I turned my phone off again. Jake came back around 10 a.m. with coffee and bagels. We sat there in silence for a bit before he finally spoke. "Do you know who the guy is?" "No." "Do you know who gave you the envelope?" "No." "You think you'll find out eventually?" He nodded and took a sip of his coffee. "You need a lawyer?" I hadn't even considered that. We weren't married yet, but we'd lived together for 2 years. We shared a lease on a 2-bedroom apartment in the city, a joint account for rent, utilities, and groceries, a shared gym membership. Her name was even on my car insurance. This wasn't going to be simple. "Yeah," I said. "This is probably going to get messy." That afternoon, I went back to our apartment while Megan was out. I texted her from Jake's phone, telling her I was coming by and asking her to leave. She responded immediately, "Please, can we just talk face to face?" I didn't answer. When I arrived, she was gone, but she'd left notes everywhere. Sticky notes on the bathroom mirror, the fridge, the coffee maker. Every one of them said the same thing. I'm sorry. Please talk to me. I love you. I packed clothes, my laptop, personal items, and important documents. I grabbed my grandfather's watch. Before leaving, I set my key on the kitchen counter with a note that said, I need space. Don't contact me. I stayed with Jake for the next week. 5 days later, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to answer. Ethan, it was the woman from the engagement party. Who is this? I asked. My name is Olivia, she said. I was seeing someone. His name is Lucas. He works at the same startup as Megan. She explained that she'd found out about Megan 3 weeks earlier after going through his phone when he came home late for the 5th time that month. She apologized for what she did at my party, but said she didn't know any other way to reach me. He wouldn't stop seeing Megan, and Megan wouldn't stop seeing him. She confronted him over and over, and every time he swore it was over, until it wasn't. I thought you deserved to know, she said. I sat down on Jake's couch. My head was spinning. They work together? I asked. Yeah, she said. He's the creative director. They've been seeing each other since June, maybe longer. I only found the messages in November, but they go back before that. I took screenshots of everything before he could delete them. June. We got engaged in September. She'd been cheating on me before I even proposed. Before I spent 3 weeks planning that moment. Before I asked her father for his blessing. Why didn't you just call me? I asked. I didn't have your number, she said. I found your name through Megan's Instagram. I saw the engagement party invitation she posted 3 weeks ago. I was afraid if I contacted you privately, she'd intercept it or convince you I was lying. People don't always believe the messenger. I panicked. I thought if I handed you proof in public, you'd have no choice but to face it. I'm really sorry. I know it must have been humiliating. I didn't know what to say. Thank you. I finally managed. I broke up with him, she added quietly. That night, after I left your party, I went straight to his apartment. He was getting ready for bed like nothing had happened. I showed him the engagement photo from Instagram and told him I knew he'd been there with her. He admitted everything, said it didn't mean anything, said he loved me, said she was just convenient. I couldn't stay. I'm sorry, I said. Me too, she replied. We hung up. I sat there for a long time before finally calling Megan. She answered on the first ring. Ethan, please, she said. Let me explain. Lucas, I said. Creative director. Since June. Silence. Long and heavy. How long have you known? She whispered. Does it matter? She added quickly. Ethan, I made a mistake. It was stupid. It didn't mean anything. I love you. I want to marry you. I want the life we planned. I laughed, sharp and bitter, barely recognizing my own voice. You were sleeping with him while I was planning our future. I know, she said. I know. I'm so sorry. It's over. I ended it 2 days ago, I swear. Please, can we just talk in person? I'll answer anything. I'll do whatever it takes. No, I said. I'm done. Megan, we're done. You don't mean that. I do. For years, Ethan. For years. You're really going to throw that away? I didn't throw it away, I said. You did. Every Thursday for 6 months. She started crying. It was a mistake. One mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. It wasn't one mistake, I said. It was dozens. Hundreds. Every lie. Every text. Every time you came home and kissed me like nothing was wrong. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I'm so sorry. So am I. I hung up. 2 days later, I got a text from her mother. You're making a mistake. She loves you. Don't throw away 4 years over one bad choice. People can change. She's devastated. Her mother followed up with another message, saying that her father and she had raised Megan better than this, and that Megan knew she'd messed up. She asked me to give her a chance to fix things. I didn't respond. I blocked her number. Then I blocked Megan's number too. Update 3. By mid-December, I hired a lawyer. Even though Megan and I weren't married, the shared lease and joint bank account made everything more complicated than I expected. My attorney, Diane, a woman in her 50s who came highly recommended, told me the first thing I needed to do was close the joint account and immediately move my share into a separate one. I followed her advice that same day. Megan tried calling me 17 times from a different number. I didn't pick up once. I blocked that number too. Diane also told me to document everything. Keep the envelope. Save all financial records. Screenshot any messages or missed calls. I did exactly that. By Christmas, I had moved into a small one-bedroom apartment closer to my office. It was quiet. Empty. Bare walls. Jake lent me a futon until I could afford a real bed. I didn't decorate. I honestly didn't see the point. My mom offered to come help me set the place up, but I told her I needed to handle it myself. Jake invited me to spend Christmas with his family. I turned him down. I wanted to be alone. That day, I ordered Chinese food and watched old movies on my laptop. It was, without question, the loneliest Christmas of my life. On New Year's Eve, I was mindlessly scrolling on my phone when I got a message request on Instagram. It was from Lucas. He wrote that he knew I probably hated him and that he just wanted to apologize. He said what happened between him and Megan was wrong and that he took full responsibility. He claimed it started as friendly conversations at work and turned into something it never should have. He added that, for what it was worth, Megan really did love me and talked about me all the time. He said she made a mistake, that they both did. He said he hoped I could find a way to forgive her and ended by calling her a good person who made a bad choice. I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to reply and tell him exactly what I thought of him, but then I realized it wouldn't change anything. Nothing he said mattered anymore. I blocked him. In mid-January, I ran into one of Megan's bridesmaids, Rachel, at a coffee shop near my office. She noticed me, hesitated, then walked over. "Hey, Ethan." "Hey, how are you?" "Fine." She shifted awkwardly, gripping her latte. "I know this isn't really my place, but Megan's not doing well. She's been really depressed. She barely leaves her apartment. She's seeing a therapist now. She knows she messed up. She's trying to fix things." I took a sip of my coffee. "That's not my problem anymore." "I get that," she said quickly. "I really do. But she loved you. She still does. What she did was awful, but people make mistakes. She's human." "She had a strange way of showing it," I said. Rachel looked down at her cup. "I told her not to do it," she admitted. "Back in July, I saw them together at a restaurant and confronted her. She swore it was just lunch, just work. I believed her because I wanted to. I should have told you. I'm sorry." I didn't know how to respond, so I just nodded. She didn't say anything else. She gently squeezed my arm and walked away. Final update. It's been almost 3 months since the engagement party. Megan and I haven't spoken since that phone call in December. I heard through mutual friends that she quit her job at the startup in January. Apparently, Lucas was fired about a week earlier for reasons no one will officially say. The rumor is HR got involved after other employees found out about the affair. I don't know if they're still in contact. I honestly don't care. Olivia reached out to me again in late January. We met for coffee at a small cafe downtown. She wanted to apologize again for how she handled everything, but I told her she didn't need to. If anything, I was thankful. She saved me from making a much bigger mistake, marrying someone who didn't respect me. We talked for over an hour. She's doing better now. She's moved on, started therapy, and has begun dating again, though she's taking it slow. We're not exactly friends, but we check in with each other every few weeks. It helps talking to someone who understands what it's like to be blindsided by someone you trusted completely. In February, I sold the engagement ring. I took it to 3 different jewelers before finding one who offered a fair price. I lost about 30% of what I paid, but I didn't care. I used the money to book a solo trip to Colorado in March. I needed distance. Mountains. Quiet. A place where things felt simple again. The apartment lease ends in April. Megan agreed to let me buy her out of it. My lawyer handled all the paperwork. We never had to speak. Diane told me Megan seemed cooperative, almost relieved to have it over with. I don't know where she lives now. I don't ask. I'm still angry sometimes. Not the loud, explosive kind where you want to scream or punch walls. More like a quiet, steady anger that sits in your chest and makes trusting people harder than it used to be. I'm working on it. I've started seeing a therapist myself, Dr. Miller, who specializes in betrayal trauma. I'm trying to rebuild, trying to figure out who I am outside the relationship I thought I was building. My mom asks me once in a while if I think I'll ever date again. I tell her, maybe. Not right now, but maybe someday, when I'm ready, when I can trust again. People also ask if I think I'll ever forgive Megan. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe one day. Not for her, for me. So I can let go of the anger. But for now, I'm focused on moving forward. On figuring out who Ethan is when he's not planning a wedding or building a future with someone who didn't value him the way he valued her. I don't regret walking away. I regret not seeing the signs sooner. Ignoring the little things. The way she started turning her phone face down when I walked into the room. The new perfume she began wearing in July, the gym membership she suddenly renewed after letting it expire for over a year. That's the thing about betrayal. It always makes sense after the fact. Jake tells me I'm doing better, that I smile more now than I did back in December. Maybe he's right. I'm starting to feel like myself again, or maybe a different version of myself. One who's a little more cautious, but also more certain of what he deserves. I'm okay. Not great, but okay. And for now, that's enough. Edit 1. A few people have asked what happened with the engagement party costs. We'd already paid about $4,000 in non-refundable deposits. Megan's parents ended up covering most of the engagement party costs after I walked out. I offered more than once to split the losses, but they wouldn't hear it. They told me it wasn't my fault. I didn't argue. I appreciated the gesture, even though it didn't really make any of this easier to process. Edit 2. For anyone wondering, yes, I kept the envelope. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe it's a reminder. Maybe it's because I'm not ready to let go of the proof yet. It's sitting in a drawer in my apartment, tucked underneath some old tax papers. I haven't opened it since that night, but just knowing it's there helps in a strange way. It reminds me that I'm not imagining things, that what happened was real. Edit 3. Someone asked if I ever found out why Olivia chose to reveal everything at the engagement party instead of reaching out earlier. She told me later that she'd gone back and forth on it for weeks. But when she saw Megan post about the party on social media, talking about forever and calling me her soulmate, something in her snapped. She said she couldn't let me walk into a marriage without knowing the truth. I understand that now. And honestly, I'm glad she told me when she did.